Hi, nice to see some of you who I can see. It would be nice to see your faces if you have a chance to open your video. Hey, so hi there. So my name is Alina. I'll introduce a little bit myself and the intention of this is really to get you to introduce you to the program that I've been involved with for the past 2 years or probably more, maybe even 3 years. So we've been running this program, small groups, personal mentorship, and certification training for people who are interested in learning the tools for themselves, self-deepening, all KI toolkit, as well as have the platform and the ability to practice with others and decide for themselves if they're interested in continuing to certified portion of the training and therefore sign up and continue towards certification and become a certified facilitator such as myself. So I'm Alina and I am a trainer, a training assistant and a certified facilitator, AI facilitator. And I've been with this work for over 3 years right now, probably maybe 3.5, something like that. And I started with a similar training. And back in the day, the trainings were different than what they are right now. And it was just the live call with Dan and Scott. And it was basically just the certification training. So we were immediately, without even being encouraged to do self-inquiry, we were just dropped into, here are the tools, and now go facilitate each other. And it was like so much overwhelming fear. There was a lot to deal with. But this is how I started. And yet I was so passionate about this work. And that's me. I mean, you can still find me here. I'm still as passionate and probably even more so with the development of the tools and the possibility to pass it along, because this helped me to get out of so many things that we can perhaps talk about if that's some of your interest, a little bit of my story. But I come from a non-dual background. I come from yoga background, from tantric, like not the tantric we know in the West, but deep tantric Himalayan tradition. That got me with earnestly and intensity of seeking and practice and a lot of meditation over 3 years, and got me to an abiding awake state. And that was back in 2010, so 13 years ago. But nevertheless, what I was observing, well, everyone else who was waking up, they were able to share the insights and the realization and be these, the teachers that we know these days, the non-dual teachers. At that time, it was Jeff Foster, with Scott, it was many other younger ones that I don't, Benito. Anyway, back in that time, and I was observing everyone teaching where I couldn't. And my huge question mark was like, how can they do it and I can't? And there was this overwhelming fear that was here. And I couldn't figure out what it was, because to awareness that was always present, it was not shown, it was not exposed. So I started to ask questions, therefore inquiry started to come about. And this inquiry brought me even deeper, and it's brought me to traumas that were repressed and repressed emotions that were there for since I was 6 years old, and that were preventing me basically to use my voice. I completely lost my power, my voice in that moment, and it still was hanging around in my body. So just waking up to our true nature does not guarantee the whole fully becoming human, fully becoming intimate with life, fully saying yes to life without bypassing. So what I started to notice, okay, I'm started to get curious. Okay, how do I move through this? And what started to come as an answer is Scott's books, because he was actually talking about the same thing, the same findings, that there's a lot of bypassing going on in non-duality, and just pointing and just being with, it's really powerful. It's also really freeing and really transcending. But if we're still having these bodies, we're still going to be interacting with people. We're still going to have relationships till the end of our lives. So this is where this work comes in. And this is basically a work of embodied enlightenment. And that's what I've noticed with people who had come to this work with already the awareness piece in place, and people who are just interested in just more peace of mind and just to stop suffering because they saw all the other modalities didn't help them and they came here. And in the process of doing KI, they just got more quiet because it's just the systems, right, that are operating. And it's basically what we've learned through this work, what is kind of almost not available when we're just in the transcendence teachings. What is not available is to truly understand what the ego is. And the ego is simply mind, body reaction to survival. So it's survival strategies that are learned and they're constantly playing out, trying to be. So if there is a belief, there is a concept about me that I'm deficient in some way, there is this, it's the past, right? So it's the ego, the past, and it always projects itself to be better in the future. So it's this constant battle within ourselves and the noise that it creates and the unconscious beliefs that are there, the unconscious stories that are actually take us out of being here now at ease. So the beauty of this work, it's so fundamental that when we actually clear up stuff and we come from the approach, of course, I'm not saying it's just going to be, you know, a walk in the park, but if we're really earnest about our freedom and taking the responsibility for our suffering, and also curious about what's truly real, who am I really, then this can give you both the fully awake and the fully human. Because the fully awake, and we can see, you know, with many teachers of the past, and Ken Wilber talks extensively about that just waking up is not enough. Clearing up, waking up, and growing up is what makes a full integral way of being in the world. So this is a wonderful work that helped me tremendously to embody the realization that I already had, and yet to clear and really get all messy with this human messiness and embrace and learn how to be so tender with everything that was shameful, ugly, disgusting within myself. So I was not running away, I was not resisting. And the part of this resistance piece, it's what creates basically suffering. Because if we learn how to approach what is, not because we just hear it, you know, learn how to be with what is, but in a skillful way, which this work demonstrates over and over again, it's how to shift our attitude toward be in the background, be in the space, the allowing space that is already restful, that is already unwounded, and allow all of these young, you know, energies, those vulnerable energies that we find within our psyche, we find in our unconscious, we find in our somatic memory. And we can embrace all that with so much love, at least first acceptance, because first what happens is this unconscious resistance to the deficiencies, to everything that happened to us. It's what perpetuates it. So it's like whatever we resist persists. So that's what's happening. And the unconscious, it's like a womb. So it gives birth to reality. So what happens without our knowing, we creating these self-sabotaging events that seems like, oh my gosh, like life supports me. All I see is like difficulty, suffering, you know, these kind of roadblocks, right? But when we start bringing the unconscious and making it conscious and kind of empty it as much as we can and fill it with love and acceptance, then that's what we're going to start seeing outside, right? So this is pretty much a little bit about what I found here, what is profound here, what is different here to other modalities. And And yeah, and therefore I'm excited about it, because now we don't need to just transcend life. And, you know, I'm a lover of life, and I've always been. So for me, this work, it's just like, wow, how can we be so intimate with everything, with ourselves first and foremost, right? And then when we learn how to be so intimate with ourselves and loving with ourselves, not in the lovey-dovey kind of new age self-love, but really nitty-gritty, like full open chested to the rawest of our emotions and the rawest of our suffering, not turning away anymore. So in this kind of way, in this kind of radical self-love, yeah, what I see, we can be such a, yeah, life becomes just playful and effortless, and we start tuning into, oh, okay, there's actually something we're interested in, not because I have to do it for someone else, not because it's, you know, I have to please my parents and I have to be validated by the society, or I have to do it for someone. There's always this whole package gets emptied. And when that's get emptied, you know, perhaps for some of us, we cultivated our creativity, we cultivated, you know, getting in touch, being in touch with our heart. But for some of us, we have no clue what we truly want. And what gets to happen, it's not, so this being fully human, what I see, it's not like where we need to kick ourselves into being better, into finding our purpose, you know, this kind of new age wellness arena that unfortunately people just buy and drop out, buy and drop out. And why is it happening? Because what's happening, they're trying to be something, they're trying to fix something, but the whole actual process of real lasting transformation is to empty the lies that we believe about ourselves, to liberate the emotions that we repressed, because as children, we identified immensely, like we were one with an emotion. So if we repressed shame, or if we repressed anger, or if we repressed our voice or our expression, that's it. We repressed ourselves, period. And not until we're gonna empty all that and come back to that, and it's just like, okay, you're gonna start finding the real you, who's pretty familiar to you before. It's not extraordinary, it's very ordinary, but it's also very freeing, it's very fulfilling, it's really connected to life source itself. There's nothing else but that flowing forward as the unique you. And that's the beauty of this work. It's this being fully human, not as an enforced thing, but as an emptying and tapping into your own interest. Okay, if I don't have to do this for the rest of the world, or I don't have to do this because I need to prove myself to be lovable, then maybe I can start being attuned to what life wants within me. Life is me. And then this is the beauty of, without chasing self-actualization, it actually happens. And it doesn't look like, you know, the next awesome entrepreneur. It might look just, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to play guitar all my life, and I've never ever tried to do it because there was all these beliefs about it that I can't. Or it might look like, I don't know, a relationship that is balanced, or whatever it is, or a piece of art, or poetry, or a book. So this is the potential of this. And now I want to open to questions. Let me know. Maybe we can even go around, and I'd like to hear, you know, your name, your connection to KI. How long do you know about this work? And then I can open up to any questions about the actual training. And I can share the more technical and practical information about the modules and so on.
I have to go at 12
Okay.
in 10 minutes. So I don't know, I just jumped in, I guess. I'm Lily, I'm in Minnesota, and I did the small group training with June this year. And I was just wondering if this one is for all the dimensions. Does this include third dimension work?
Yeah, Yeah, so this one in particularly, it's the same like June's, but what is starting, I do have one in May. It's going to be a small group training for all 3 dimensions. And if you'd like to just learn just the 3rd dimension work, you can reach out to me directly. And there is a one-on-one training for 3rd dimension to get certified. Are you certified already as a facilitator?
No, I'm not looking to be certified. I'm just doing it for personal use,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the beauty of the one-on-one, because it's super personalized. We're working together, and it's 6 live calls and the all the material, and therefore you're going at your own pace, and then we're working on whatever needs to be worked on and learning the tools and self-inquiry in 3rd dimension.
Wow. So what is how do you sign up for that? Because is
Yeah.
it like you just buy a 6 package or?
No, so I just don't know your name because I have you as a Zoom user.
Oh, sorry, Lily, Lily.
Okay, Lily. Okay, so I'm gonna look for your sign up, and therefore I'll find your email this way, or if you'd like to type it in the chat,
Yeah, I'll type it
that would be
in.
amazing.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I'll send you the information, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
well, thanks for sharing up. Mhm. Yeah, great. So let's go around. So I don't know if anyone feels like brave enough to start first. Just a little intro about yourself.
I'll
Hi.
start. Yeah. Sorry, my name's Cheska.
Thanks.
And I think I started, in the members about maybe 2-3 months ago or so. And I'm here. Well, I've been struggling with chronic pain for a long time. And I saw a talk that Scott gave, and it just sounded perfect, because I've been trying to sort of combine my work around chronic pain and also spirituality, sort of the non-dual stuff, for a long time. And so this seems like the perfect fit. And just how what he's talking about, but I found it very, very confusing to try and figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. It just doesn't make sense. And that could be partly the resistance on, sort of these sort of unconscious resistance programs to try and make things confusing. But I think it's just a confusing thing. So I've just really been looking for some place where I can find all of the information in one place. And then the thing popped up on my email yesterday, and it's like, okay, I got to check this out. So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
And it's interesting what you're talking about the whole thing about emptying out and not having all of the things that used to motivate me, which were all about distraction and making myself feel good and validating and stuff like that. And those are starting, I'm just seeing through them that they don't, it's like that doesn't work. It didn't work. And so like I'm in this place where I kind of don't really know what, but I know what not, sort of thing,
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you talked about that, because I feel like that's exactly the space that I'm in right now.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Cheska. It's short for Francesca, but it's Cheska.
Cheska. Okay, perfect, Cheska. Thank you so much, and nice to meet you, Cheska.
You too.
Where are you joining us from?
I'm in San Rafael, California.
California. Okay, perfect. Pacific time. Yeah, it's that I totally resonate with you, because before I took the training, I bought so many books by Scott, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to teach myself. And, it's already, the presence is already here. So it's kind of easy. And from one end, there was already some ease. And I actually even started to introduce it to some people that were coming to my meditation circle. And yet I couldn't go as deep, and I couldn't go as skillfully as when I started learning the actual kind of full spectrum of KI tools and how to weave them, and with the support and with the ability to practice together, right? Because there's from module 1, we start practicing self-inquiry, just like, okay, these are the few tools. Okay, this is the demo. This is how you do it. Okay, now you, and now you. So we go around and we practice, which gives people the actual confidence to ask right away, am I doing it right? Okay, and I can correct there immediately. So there's actually not, it's not in a vacuum, you know, you just not watch the video and trying to make sense of it. So it's much different environment when we learn this way. So great, thank you. Okay, I go like this. I have so Harry, and then Jennifer, and then I have Sohin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it okay, and then Brad. So hi Harry. Oh, you're muted.
Unmuted. How's that?
Awesome. We hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I'm probably I'm a newbie here. I picked up one of Scott's books back in January. I had a little substance abuse problem that I was working with, and I saw his book on addictions in the public library, and so I just kept checking it out over and over again. So I lived with it for a few months, and and it really helped me recover. So then it just occurred to me to Google, KI, and I saw the group. So I got the offer. I just did the 1 week of emails, and I'm watching videos here and there, popping in on a group. And I guess I'm working my way through the tab where it says basics. There's a lot of videos there. I think I'm on the right track. And so with the beginning. And so anyway, I have a history in non-dual stuff too. I mean, I was living in ashrams and when I was a teenager. And so, my spiritual pedigree, I could go on and on. But that's why I found Scott's work so great. I said, oh, this is like Eastern, non-dual teachings, but it's, using the language of mindfulness. I mean, I remember before that word even existed, and how we're explaining it all, instead of saying meditation, we're saying rest. So it really, I thought this is one for me. I was looking at different recovery, and I thought if this is recovery, it's just, I can start my yoga practice again and recover all in one, and then as I'm looking at this more deeply, I feel also that, I'd always thought about myself that I always feel that I had psychological and emotional issues that really would need to be dealt with. But instead, I got right into Kundalini yoga and, LSD and everything, so yeah, my mind is, transcended everything, but yeah, got to come back and rebuild the foundation to the house. And so it's been really difficult. These past 3 months have been the most difficult parts of my life. And it's in just over the past few weeks, I just using the first 2 videos about recognizing this somatically, me realizing that I can just check in my body, and it's like, oh, because generally I've been not feeling comfortable in my own skin, as they say. And so I could look inside and see anxiety there from the moment I would wake up. Well, now there's this increasing sense of okayness, because I mean, I just look inside, and if I see that little monster there, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, stay as long as you like. It's so empowering to do that. And then I think that then I feel like it's coming from my childhood. So I say, I love you, I support you. And the little monster just, turns into a cuddly little creature, I guess. But I'm feeling so much better, and just starting here, and I couldn't be more enthusiastic about it. I'm checking in several times a day. So and I've got to say, I'm hearing a lot of the same things over and over, and I've got to say, what you were speaking in the opening, that was mind blowing. I mean, it's things I've heard before, but it really, really wonderful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, beautiful, Harry. Thank you so much for coming and your interest in, wow, amazing. You found it.
Yeah,
This is
I love
it's
it.
like, it's like non-duality meeting psychology, and like the West and the East just merge into this one such needed tool for today's today's
Yeah,
awakening.
We've
we
been
cannot,
waiting for
we
this.
can no
Yeah.
longer transcend, and we can no longer just talk therapy. It's just, it has to land. We have to apply the real science around somatic and around the unconscious and around everything that going on. What is the real element of why this technique works is for the foundation of awareness. Because if we're just continuing, like, let's say cognitive therapy, it's like, if we just stay here without including this, or if we're just here without including this, like the awareness piece, we're just going to be, like just touching one part of the elephant, so to say, and just claiming it to be true and still suffering. Yeah. Great, thank
Great
you.
stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great start. So I'm sorry you're going through a really rough time, but you're in the right place to have the right tools to cope with it and deal with it and move through and break through as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm all in. It's
Yeah.
just wonderful. This new
Mhm.
technology.
Yeah, exactly. Wonderful. Jennifer, you jumped for me on the top, but I
Hi.
know you were next. Hi.
Hey there, I'm Jen. I live in Texas, outside of Dallas, and I have been drawn to the non-dual message for, I don't know, about a year, and I learned about the Kiloby increase from one of the non-dual speakers that I engage with, and what you said earlier was really resonant for me, perhaps about turning away from and what Jessica said about being able to see through the ways in which I do those things, that's very resonant. And so I'm really new to self-inquiry, but I'm looking forward to learning more and sort of the guidance behind that, and maybe avoiding bypassing. And I can see how that so easily can happen. Yeah, I guess that's what I've got.
Okay, wonderful. That's great. You're here.
Thank you.
And thank you for the curiosity. And just what was the difference between learning the tools on my own as much as I could and engaging in the training is the beauty of the commitment and the momentum, right? So the momentum kind of tackles your resistance, although I resisted, like when my resistance appears as just hanging around in awareness. It's just like, it's really nice and quiet here. So I don't need to touch any humanness. I'm just going to withdraw into myself. I can sit quiet. If I get disturbed, I can sit quiet without engaging, but this is also an avoidance. So what I was observing is for 2 weeks engaging with the training, the resistance was up online, but at least I had the commitment to show up for the live calls. I had the commitment to show up to this one-on-one sessions. And through that, eventually it was like, from the facilitated sessions, we got into some unconscious material that was like, wow, this is so fascinating to find it here. So it kind of got my curiosity up online, and therefore the curiosity kind of broke through the resistance, and I started to engage more and more, and therefore like it kind of went on and on and on. I think if I would be just continuously doing it on my own, like the resistance part and the procrastination kind of to do this work, because we don't want to deal, like it's a natural survival mechanism not to deal with uncomfortable feelings or uncomfortable things. We're gravitating to always towards pleasure. So even though we know and we want to commit, with everything we got, but there's just these mechanisms that kind of sabotage everything. So this is like the engagement in training, that's another plus that can give us this kind of environment, to be how to say how they say that, I'm looking for the word, being accountable. Yeah. So please tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. It's Sohim. So I'm in Mexico, so we did J as a. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, somehow we don't hear you, although you're unmuted. Oh, now I hear you. I guess you should be a little bit louder.
Sujin.
Sujin. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Sujin, welcome.
Thank you. I've been just kind of, I read Scott's blog, and I've been just kind of following Facebook. I'm in the Facebook group and following his posts and watching his video, and sometimes like I follow a lot of different people, but sometimes like there are things that I don't agree with. But like on Scott's post, I agree with almost all of them. I should say all of them. And I've been kind of looking for ways to heal my trauma and also teach as well. So I thought this was a good opportunity to learn to do that. I thought it was like a perfect combination I'm looking for. Yeah, so I'm interested in anything to do with healing. I'm a pharmacist, but I'm also a patient safety activist. So our healthcare is in our country, in the United States, I'm from Chicago, is really hurting patients, not necessarily healing patients, and even clinicians. So I'm personally looking for ways to heal that, not necessarily just for myself, but heal the system. It's sort of, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's I'm always inspired to see another spark of what I've saw that it was needed in the world. And I was just like, wow, if people could just stop for a moment and exactly, Harold, as you're saying, acknowledge what's actually happening in their bodies. It's like, okay, let's get down from here and below to just start understanding what's going on. So if we can be that beacon of light or introduction to this kind of work to others, it's fascinating. It's just that fractal effect of really healing what is, yeah, the insanity that's going around in the world. Complete avoidance, right? Yeah, thank you for being here. Brad, we're here.
Hello,
Hi.
from Tampa, Florida. I originally familiar with Scott from, I don't know, maybe a little over 10 years ago. Just
Oh,
they were just working, just as a non-dual teacher. And like you mentioned about Ken Wilber, I spend an equal time trying to clear up and wake up at the same time. But it seems like I need to clear up more to go farther into waking up. I have a lot of early pre-verbal trauma that I've been trying to work through for years. So I became interested in, Scott as a non-dual teacher, then working on the trauma as well. So I just became very interested. And then I did a few sessions with Mihai, and it's been going well. So I'm interested in the program, learning more about it and some of Scott's methods. So yeah, I'm very interested.
wow. Yeah, I worked with a few clients, and it's quite fascinating how deep this work can go into pre-verbal trauma. And yeah, it's very, very tender places, and it's been such an honor to hold space. I mean, I'm a mom of 3, so, and a birth doula. So for me, going back with people and healing those spaces of the first initiation into physical embodiment,
Oh.
it's very, very powerful. Yeah, and this work can definitely do that. Yeah, so great. Thank you so much for being here and your interest. And I'm really excited. I hope some of you make it to the training with me. I really see beautiful. I mean, you're authentically here. So that's why I love about this community. It doesn't, it draws people that are really seeing the authenticity of this work and the integrity of this work, and that inner readiness just tells me that, we are going to see results. Because for me, someone who tries to, come here and just shop for the next extra, the super pill that will do it, overnight. No, but I think we suffered enough or seen suffering enough that to understand that it takes learning the tools and it takes applying the tools. It takes the commitment to that, and it's all of it, right? Great. So let me know if any one of you have any particular questions. I mean, I'm going to share. Let me see. I can share a bit more about the actual training so you can see what it is. Mhm.
Well,
yeah,
Alina,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just hit with the, I'd never heard the expression, the pre-verbal trauma. I guess that I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it made me think about, I wondered if this work it's fascinating. I remember my birth. I had a dream of my own birth. It was very traumatic.
Yeah.
Actual being born. Described it to my parents. They thought they were going to take me to a psychologist. They couldn't understand that I was there.
Wow.
But it was the horrible experience, and I remember it vividly. So I guess, wow, we can do this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For
I've never had the tools to do anything about it, but I thought about it all my life.
Mhm.
So that's pretty
Yeah, and
core
whatever
deep,
is alive, well, or whatever is alive in us. I have a client, and she did, I mean, she was already feeling into something that was kind of like a package that was already with her as soon as she was as a child. There was this huge limitation and heaviness that she was feeling about herself. And anyway, in recent reels, she did some regression and saw this really, really suffering kind of past life that was happening to her. So we were working even with that. Because if it's alive in you here and now, whatever you can evoke here and now, and the somatic memory of the body, it can bring you to the pre-verbal trauma. But in her, it was like a past memory that was also accessible here now. So there is a way to heal. By healing yourself as well, you also heal an intergenerational connection to, like, in the training, I tapped into huge need to survive and run of that intergenerational stuff that was passed to me from my grandmother to my grandmother. My grandmother was running away as a Jew from the Germans. My mother was running away from the USSR, escaping. And I continued the torch. Like, here it is. It's like not that much suffering was already, but I continued running. So by healing it within myself, my mom stopped running away as well. Like, I'm sitting here, I landed in Mexico. I'm like, I love it here. I don't need to run anymore. And it's like, it's just amazing. It really is amazing. So, so there's so many possibilities and opportunities. And yeah, pre-verbal trauma is usually birth trauma that, I have, again, trainee and a client that was in NCU for like 3 months, never seen human contact or with the mother. And therefore, it's just, you can imagine what followed. So yeah, that's also a possibility to go all the way there. Yeah. Well, Facilitator, let me know if you have any specific questions before I share with you a little bit the more kind of practical information about the training. How many of you serious of taking the training? 1, 2, awesome. That's cute, beautiful.
actually, Alina, I forgot why I signed up for this, so I don't remember what the training is. You're gonna have to tell me.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
So I'm going to share screen, and this is something you can find, but it's just, since I'm here, I can just talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so you can find this in the website, and you go, if you want to learn self-inquiry, group training, small group training, and that's how you'll arrive to this page. And that's how you feel when you finish the course. Anyway, but what you get is it's separated in 2 portions. And so the first portion of personal mentorship, it's 10 weeks of 2 hours of small group meetings. So we all 4 people. So 4 of us. I mean, I'm gonna do. I'm I'm filling out 2 groups. So if all of you sign up, awesome, we have space for everyone. And they fill out fast, so it's that's the nature of this because we're so ready for this. So it's 10 weeks and there is material and teachable, and that takes about of your commitment of time about an hour and a half a week. So for an hour and a half, you're going to go and you got to watch videos of Scott and Dan and from previous trainings and myself and few other trainers, including different materials about all the tools, all the contacts, the demos and so on. So, and it's built in a beautiful flowing manner. So you're going to watch that before our actual live call. What we do in our 2 hours of live call, apart from just checking in, seeing how everyone's doing, we're actually start practicing the tools you saw in that module. So there's immediate hands-on practice. Of course, you get the manual and so on. You have also included with that in your 10 weeks to use 2 one-on-one sessions with me. And if that isn't not enough, because you have a privilege of a trainee, you can also purchase a 5 package session at a very low discounted rate. So instead of $150 per session that I have, it's going to be $90 per session. So you can purchase to go deeper. Now, this, when we practice personal mentorship, it's mainly focused on self-inquiry and your own self-deepening. But that doesn't mean that you won't get together with another trainee and you do some peer support practice. What does that look? It looks like self-inquiry in someone else's presence. It looks also the one that's holding space, perhaps suggesting some tools. Oh, you're stuck. Maybe you can try to use this. So you can kind of already learning to help each other, and yet you're still doing self-inquiry. What that does, it kind of also tackles your resistance to actually do the practice, because it's through practice that we learn the most. Through practice that we start embodying the tools, through practice that things starts moving, unpacking, ungluing, and so on. So this is the personal mentorship part. It's 10 weeks. And I'll get to the prices in a moment. So now if you decided that you'd like to continue and become certified facilitator, or if you'd like to continue and get facilitation for the rest of your life, because that's what you're getting, we get into, after 2 weeks of break, we're getting to certified facilitator training. And that's another payment, or you can pay for both in the beginning and there's a discount for that. But you can also decide and pay at the end. So what are you getting with that? You know, another manual, there's more focus on working with others. There is 7 more meetings together, 2 hours, 1 more one-on-one free session with me. And there is the inclusion of 3 hours for evaluation and certification process is included in that. So now by engaging with this, it's going to be so 7 weeks of practicing together, beginning to facilitate each other from the first class. So now you're building that trust and you're building that, how would I say, support with each other. Sorry, I have dogs barking here. So you're building that trust the way it happened for me. Perhaps you're aware of Darby. She's also a trainer and a facilitator, and we grew up together. She's like my KI sister. So we went through the training together and we started exchanging sessions together. So therefore, you know, it's just, I know I didn't need too much sessions in the past year or so. But the first 2 years, yeah, we were reaching out to each other. We were practicing together for 3 months before I said, like, okay, I'm ready to get certified. Before she said, I'm ready to get certified. But after that, you know, with whoever you're practicing, maybe it's just 1 person, maybe it's 2 people, but you know, you can reach out to each other anytime, especially if they continue evolving in KI, because KI is evolving and there's new tools and so on. So, and this just guarantee, if you even don't want to go to get certified, what this guarantees for you is that you can go much deeper by facilitating others because it's easier than facilitating yourself. So you learn ways to weave the tools in a much more skillful way. And by learning to do that with others, you become much more skillful at self-facilitation as well. As well as I'm saying the fact that you're getting a friend, a KI body, body, not a body. Anyway, so you can go to this page and there's plenty of videos and inspiration and testimonies from previous trainees. So you can go through that, and these are the prices. So if you pay for both in a single payment, it's $2,499. You can also choose both programs, but a payment plan, and it would be 5 payments. And if you'd like to just start with personal mentorship and just learn the tools for yourself and see how you feel, and if you'd like to continue or not, you can just take the first, just personal mentorship, either payment plan or single payment. And when you finish that at the end of 10 weeks, you will see for yourself if you'd like to continue. And if you do, you still will have a discount to sign up to the other program. So there's going to be in Teachable, there's going to be a link, like it's an add-on that will still take into account the same discount that appears here. I think it's $100 or something. Yeah. So, so yeah, I will encourage you to do this as fast as you can, because there's going to be another email going out, and I'm also going to email all the other people that didn't show up. So by now I have only, well, 8 spots available. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any other questions about the training. One thing I want to mention, so now this includes pre-repression. It's also, don't get me wrong, before we didn't have repression tools, right? So KI was able to tackle repression as well. I've healed I liberated tons of shame with just these KI tools. Now we have new tools that are introduced into KI basic, and which is mind-body mirroring, which is pretty much repression tool. So it's when we weave it in a proper way, we can also attend repression with just this for yourself. Now, to get the green check mark, you have to be certified first in Kiloby inquiries. You have to have the full toolkit. You have to know first how to facilitate others in just KI. And then if you'd like to continue later on, then you can take what the lady previously, Lily, was interested in, and it's like an add-on of 6 weeks just to get certified in repression. Yeah, but that's not included in this, just so you're not confused. It's not all 3 dimensions training. It's first and second dimension. Any questions about what been shared, or just your own question that was arising around training or anything else?
When does the program start and what time is it?
Yeah, okay. So it starts as soon as I have 4 first people signing up. You know, we have a group right there. So as soon as I have 4 people, I'll email. If it's today, I'll email you immediately today. Okay, when can we get together? And when we find the right time to get together, then it's going to be an introduction. And we're going to decide on day and time that is working for all of us. Usually your guys seems like a little bit more in the US based, but sometimes I had a last group, a person in Sri Lanka, one person in Europe. I had Eastern time and Pacific time, and we all had to just bring it together, and we found a time. So we always find time. So that's not a problem. So it's as soon as I have 4 people, that probably might take this week to fill out. So probably next week we will meet for the first time and decide when we start. Yeah. Any other questions, technical or? So I encourage those of you who kind of, if there's like a financial thing and you doubt it or something like that, and you need a longer payment plan, it's probably possible to speak with support and get something like that going. But just remembering myself, I was completely broke coming to this. And I put it like, it was in the beginning before the pandemic, actually. And I put it on my credit card and I didn't know how I'm going to pay it. And literally within, basically after the training, and took me 3 months to get certified, I immediately start working with clients, and it was like just start basically pouring. First, really, really cheap. I almost gave it free because I'm like, okay, I'm in stagiaire, so to say, I'm practicing as well as charging. So I was charging really half the price. And then with the confidence, it's just came the fact that, whoa, I can actually start charging more. And I really see progress in people that are approaching me and so on. So it just, if you want to become a facilitator, it's just going up from here. If you're earnest and if you're hard-based with that, because that's what people feel. It's not about marketing ourselves, and you can be on the directory, of course. There's a little fee for that, but it's really worth it. And it's just, if you come from it from your heart, like it's felt by others, if you come from it from just really doing your own work, therefore you can speak about the tools, or you can facilitate the other person from direct experience, and that all that really matters, all that really counts, because it's just lands much more authentically. It just feels, people feel your integrity with this. So one way or another, whatever it is that limits you, I removed with this like a huge scarcity mode that helped me to like kind of boost myself into absolute abundance right now, really. So I'm so grateful to this work, apart from the fact that it's providing me work, but it's also just removed everything that was in a way limiting me in living more financially abundant life.
Alina, I have a question. Would you explain the difference between the levels? I think there's what, level 1, 2, and 3, and then the dimensions. I don't understand what those are.
Okay, yeah. Let me share with you some. Oops, not this. Here. This with the news. Sorry, my mess. Oh, yeah. This is, I just did that, and I'm going to be teaching integral KI. Oh, let me get you out there. So level 1 and level 2, it's just to divide the members area for people who are ready for repression work and people who are not yet. So forget about the levels. But in KI, there are 3 dimensions. So the first dimension is basically non-duality, meditation, non-prompting, allowing everything to be as it is, whatever is already arising, right? So I'm teaching also on Tuesdays. I have calls every Tuesday just based on first dimension, direct pointing, meditation, natural rest, and just resting, not in a sense of trying to get somewhere, but just really somatic embodiment of being here now. Okay, so this is important because this is also, we're going to be talking and learning a lot about this in module 1, because this is the foundation. Now, second dimension, well, you can see here, second dimension, it's, let me move you guys to the other side. So second dimension is horizontal clearing. And why horizontal? Because it really goes like building the map of the unconscious. So it's all the survival of body-mind mechanisms and all the coping mechanisms and the strategies and so on. But it's also going into that vulnerable, that inner child and shadow, and embracing and acknowledging and loving all those parts of ourselves that we've been unconsciously resisting for so long. And then when this intimacy can happen between presence and that inner child energy, that vulnerable energy, then they can relax. So it's body-mind connection, right? It's regulating our nervous system, it's mining, it's digging, it's prompting. Now, these two combined, when we really work with two, we can start noticing an inclusion. What I mean by inclusion, I always call KI as a path of inclusion. It's just a way to stop resisting the full spectrum of being human. So inclusion starts happening here. Compassion, intimacy. We start finding intimacy with life, with ourselves, with, okay. So this is what's happening. So third dimension, it's vertical work. So it's really energy work, deep somatic work. It's, well, this is some of the tools, and it's dysregulation. If this here is regulation and we feel, sometimes we feel really embodied, we feel at peace, we feel spacious with KI, don't get me wrong, you can still get to really, really emotional parts and really, how do I say, releasing parts. But when we come to vertical work and really just working with energy, it feels like a medicinal journey almost, because we just stay with energy. We no longer go into the story because we saw all the stories here. We already cleared that up. We included all that. We know all the map. So we cannot just jump here into the third. It has to happen in this order, because if we just jump here and just start doing repression work intensely, what's going to happen? All the stories going to start coming up. And if we didn't go there, if we didn't zoom in, what we're going to be is distracted from the actually staying with the energy. So this is very, it's really profound. It takes another kind of skill. But what happens here when we liberate that on the combination of the second and third dimension, what I observed, the expression of fully being me, that fear that was installed in our childhood of being me, whatever it is, because we were too much, because we were too loud, because we were not smart enough, whatever it is, right? These limitations are drop away, and the ability to be me in the world kind of comes forth. Now here, awareness is needed everywhere. This is the basis of this. And what happens here when we clear out stuff from third dimension, we become much more restful here. We no longer need to try to meditate. It just becomes simple and quiet here or there with one experience or another experience. And it's just, there's no rush to know what we should be or what we shouldn't be. There's just this rest that starts happening in the unknown. And with this rest in the unknown, the manifest reality of you just kind of becomes the next obvious step and the next obvious step. So these are the dimensions. So first dimension, witnessing work. Second dimension is the ego map, so to say. It's the embracing all the vulnerable energies. And third dimension is all repression work. So also chronic pain. So I heard you were saying that you came here with chronic pain, but they overlap in our training. I do overlap them a little bit because I cannot not to. It's just like we get the intro of tasting what repression work is as well. So I'll end it with this, and there's going to be an actual meeting. I'm going to be talking, and I'm going to be actually teaching integral KI, because I feel like this is a very important part to connect everything. Because a lot of people are separating themselves. Oh, this is just about repression. Oh, it's just about non-duality. Oh, we're just stuck in KI and working with the deficiencies. But no, it's really all of that. It's really all of that. So I just have to go. So I have to stop this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in training, if that works for you, if that works for you right now. And if you have any questions, I think you received an email, and I think you have my email there. You can email me directly, as well as I'll follow up and give you the links. So, I don't, yeah, so you know where to go if you'd like to register and continue following with your intuition towards this training. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take good care, guys. Bye.